So the CDC offers tips to survive a zombie apocalypse. Because why not? Somebody sent me this, not this particular article, but actually that, this is a real thing on the CDC website. I started reading a bunch about it, and it's like, this is a really long article, but talks about the CDC decided to scare the world a little bit more this year by making sure that we know what to do whenever there's a zombie apocalypse. And it talks about, how Nostradamus in the 16th century predicted some things in 2021, and it's really interesting how his prediction reads few young people half dead to give a start. I mean, okay.
Integrity of an organization is going down the tubes.
It's like this is
come on.
Right. This is not specific at all.
So what I'm going to say is
women in mourning. I mean, that happens all the time. I don't know. It's like, why? How do they pull this?
If you want people to believe you, don't be putting out stuff like this. Like, you're supposed to be
credible.
The credible medical
and the CDC
group of our country, and you're talking about a zombie apocalypse. Like, get out of the movie theater. Will Smith would be like, it was just a movie.
Yeah.
Come on.
It was a good
and
movie.
actually,
Yeah,
all my
Those dang
theorists,
vaccines.
all my theorist prepper friends are already ready, according to all this. According to everything
So,
like this.
yeah,
and the directions that the Minneapolis utilities gave to all their residents regarding all the trial right now, and to be prepared, have 3 days of food, shelter, guard your property, everything you need. What Minneapolis gave for their residents, it's all the same thing. So it's not any different than what people have to do for anything else, or tornado, or riots, or anything like that, really.
I agree. And that was the saving grace of this whole thing. Like, they're trying, they say this tongue-in-cheek that they did it for, I think they really did it more for publicity or whatever they want to, however they want to spin it. But to me, it's like, why? Okay, you have a government organization that has to do and pull something like this using whose money?
Our money. Our money.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry.
For funny
that,
haha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's the reality is the people that believe the CDC, they're scared. Zombie apocalypse is going to happen.
And that's why they're wearing 2 masks.
Exactly. So you just keep going down.
Right.
You just keep going down and you keep going down. Yeah. But quite frankly, some of the things that I've read, I don't trust almost anything the CDC says anymore.
See.
And this is just another nail in that coffin to me.
It's not helping their cause of credibility.
No, I don't know. I'm in the middle with this. I'm kind of like, I think it's kind of brilliant because they're sort of insulting us a little bit, but at the same time, they realize that half of this population probably believes that this may occur. So they're sort of playing on that. But at the same time,
what is that? What are they playing on? That's fear.
They're playing on fear, which
and
again,
should
why
anybody
I'm in the middle
ever
with
do that?
it. No. But the fact of the matter is, there are people out there that are fearful of this. There are people out there that are building bunkers. There are people that are hoarding food and water. But again, and here's my thing.
Okay. I'm going to pause you again.
Okay.
Why are they building bunkers and hoarding things? Because of fear.
Because of fear.
Because they're driving the fear.
Don't trust
Media is there. So, so the interesting thing that when I read this article and they brought up Nostradamus and stuff like that, the only thing that I was annoyed about, because I followed a lot of Nostradamus stuff, is that this stuff's already occurring, has been occurring. So, for example, when they're like, famine's going to hit, I'm like, we have third world countries for years that have been dealing with famine. Zombie-like behavior, we have drugs such as bath salts and methamphetamine that changed people's behaviors. And we have proof that from stories years ago of somebody high off bath salts, attacking a homeless person, eating off his face. Those are very zombie-like, tendencies for me. And what I think about is when you go back if you were to believe Nostradamus and his predictions, if you're in the 15th century and you are foreseeing this stuff, you are not going to necessarily understand it. This is not stuff of your time. So let's say, for example, that you're foreseeing this zombie attitude and stuff like that. You're not going to understand. You don't have those drugs of your days. You're not understanding why people are reacting the way they are. So my point being is this stuff's been occurring already. So you don't need a psychic or somebody to bring your attention to it. You just need to realize that this shit's been going on. Excuse me with that word. I'm so sorry.
The ship
has been going on.
Oh my
and
gosh,
it's just we need to recognize that it's already here.
Yes, and I think so. They are now. So, what is science, right? Science is continually discovering new things, and DMT. Our brains produce DMT. It's very low levels. They found that out, and so DMT is a wild trip. I understand. I've never done anything like that, but our brains literally produce that. Now, what if his brain was doing that, or other people's brains were doing that back in the 16th century as an overproduction, as a whatever, and he's tripping. There's all kinds of things. See, we don't know. We can't talk to him. They didn't have the science back then. So back then they're calling this these predictions, but it might have been a wild trip.
Might have had a lot of wacky plants back then. I mean, I don't know. That's a really good point. It's really good point.
I mean, mushrooms.
Some of our best music has been made by tripping artists.
So would you say then it's been just quite the coincidences then of things or do you think that people just take his quatrains, if we're going with Nostradamus, and just make them to make them relevant of modern day?
I think it's really fun to do that.
Yeah.
And you all know I have a ton of movies. I love entertainment, and I love all kinds of different. The Walking Dead. I mean, hello. I love that kind of stuff because it's super entertaining. So I think that you can take the entertainment value of that. I mean, and in an exalted place, some great evils to occur. I mean, you can take all of these things and you can apply that to just about anything, anywhere.
Right.
If you really wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
We're human and we haven't really changed since the 16th century. We continue to do stupid things to each other. We hurt each other. We have governors that are doing things that they shouldn't do and saying that they're not doing it, and maybe they're not. So the point being is we're no different. Our technology's different, but we're not.
Right.
That's the way I look at it. So he could have put this year out there, and it could apply to anything, anywhere, anytime.
Right.
If you are looking for it, you'll find it.
Absolutely.
Right. Anything.
That is confirmation bias.
And what I will say is just just kind of thinking, if Nostradamus really did see these things, how scared he must have been to fast forward that many years and to be like, holy moly, this is going to occur. Again, we could go back. He predicted the Twin Towers. Adolf Hitler, this and that. I mean, what a scary vision. I would just think that, living in the world that you're already living in or the century you're living in, and you're fast forwarding 200, 300, 400 years and you see this. That's scary to me. That means you would think that over time that things would get better, right? You learn from your mistakes. But I would imagine for him and his visions, wow.
Note to self: don't take his drugs.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know a lot about Nostradamus or the quatrains or whatever, but I've read and seen a few different things on it in the past, and it's pretty interesting. And I'm not sure how accurate he predicted some of these things, and obviously it was what language was it in, and French, right? Yeah, and so they wrote things differently back then too.
And the reason why they were written the way they were written is because of persecution. That was a huge thing back then. I mean, it was easily to write the wrong thing, and then I forgot how they persecuted you back then, but it wasn't the most pleasant way. You're not going just to jail.
The guillotine or the gallows or whatever.
Yeah, it was pretty, So and again, so from my understanding of how he wrote the quatrains was because of that. But at the same time, I also, because I love all this stuff, but I also, it was so vague. It was so vague. And again, it allows your brain to sort of, it leaves room for argument, and there's just not enough there, but I still find it fascinating.
Do you remember there was a TV show a while back on Sci-Fi, I believe, that there was really... They wrote the story about around Nostradamus's quatrains. Do you remember that at all?
I've watched quite a few of them. I don't know if it's the one you're speaking of.
I will have to look that up. It was
I just find it interesting.
I saw a few episodes.
And some people think it's cool. Some people think it's fake.
Can you scroll up to the top of the article?
Yeah.
There was one line that I thought was the best line. Oh wait.
So this is the.
So it says, because 2020 was an absolute, can I say that? SHIT show.
Crap show.
You can say that.
And 2021,
Just not what Harmony said.
And 2021 is unfortunately shaping up to be just like it. And it truly is going to be worse. I mean, it truly, look at where we're at.
It does freak you out, though. It definitely
January 20th
promotes fear. It's like, okay, so this is going to be even worse than last year. So hoarded your toilet paper and this and that. It just, I don't know, creates unnecessary fear.
That's exactly the point for me. It creates unnecessary fear on something like this, right?
Maybe this will be the year of, bunkers. And, we talked about that before. There was what was it? World War, which one? Two, where, that was a common thing. They were, they were fearful. They build bunkers, this and that. Maybe it'll come up again. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just feel like every day you turn on the news, you turn on something, there's always something right now. And this to see the sky is falling. To see the CDC saying this was just crazy.
It is.
They're not helping the cause.
No, I love the preparedness. Like you said, we should be prepared for anything. This was nothing new. Mm-hmm. And, if 2020 maybe brought awareness to more people that weren't prepared for that, maybe it didn't. I don't know. But I think to go with the zombie part of it, just a little goofy myself.
On taxpayer dollars.
How much did this study cost? How much did this cost?
I
They're
can't
not telling
even.
the zombie
They would
to wear a mask
never,
now, are
ever,
they?
ever.
Huh? They're not telling the zombies to wear a mask, are
dead.
they? Well,
I don't know.
or 2 masks, or three.
And what qualifies to be a zombie? Like,
and that's in.
That's a great
have you ever
question.
thought about that? Like, what makes you a zombie?
I wonder if that after this last year they want to make us into zombies. Like they want us to just follow along.
Speech
and
last
sort of
night.
feel like
The
it's
speech
a
last
bit of
night.
a
The speech
metaphor.
last night. The speech last night.
What was the speech last night?
Exactly.
President Biden's speech on
Yeah.
COVID.
Oh, I missed
yeah.
it.
Yeah, you did.
So did I. But
I
that's
did
what the
watch
speech
it.
was about last night.
It was a zombie. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Well,
Robots,
puppet anyway.
zombies. I don't know.
Yeah, and so I mean, it's just like you could go down these weird paths, and I think that sometimes for me too, it's like they do this as a I say sleight of hand all the time, and so it's like, oh, zombie apocalypse over here. Now what are they doing over here, right? And to me, that's kind of what 2020 was about. Is like, wear the mask. We're gonna all die. So yeah, I don't know. I'm very skeptical. Like anyway, in this last year, has really, really triggered that a lot more because I've seen things. Look at Antifa again last night, breaking into banks in Portland.
Yep.
I've literally been there and driven by where they've rioted and how terrible it is. And there are people that I have looked in the eyeballs that live near Portland, like just out on the edge. Oh, no, that doesn't happen. That's not real. I'm like, I've been there. And then you get into the next lift or you're at the airport and you talk to somebody and they're like, it's terrible. We're trying to get out of here. So people just, I don't understand it. Like they're literally so blind to fires and destruction. Whew.
Sad.
So my skeptical mind is on fire when I see stuff like that. Minneapolis, poor guy, this last weekend, in his 30s, shot and killed. George Floyd zone.
The autonomous zone. Yeah.
They had to drag him out so that police and everybody could get at him, get him to the hospital. They wouldn't even let the police or anybody in, and he died. And probably would have died anyway, but that's not the point. This stuff is happening, and people are like, "Oh no, it's not." And so that's why this kind of stuff kind of fires me up, because there's something more going on here, I think, with trying to just make people so afraid.
Smoke screen.
I really think so. I don't know. That's people are going to say conspiracy, but yet we're the ones sitting here without masks on and having a good conversation.
A year later, having a good time.
And looking at, looking at our, I'm kind of going on a rant. I get it. But, we look at the overall death rate of 2020 in the United States. It's not higher. We're looking at numbers like heart disease death is down. It's a 30-year low. Right. Did people stop smoking? Did they, are they not, I mean, what? Come on.
It's all
cancer
COVID-related.
numbers.
Flu deaths are down.
Way down. Flu deaths don't even exist.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and it makes you wonder, too, they talk about Hollywood being kind of a predictor of what happens in our country. And what we're going through right now, it's
do you think that
the
Hollywood's not
vaccine,
involved,
and I'm not saying the
though?
vaccine
I
is going to
think they're
cause
like
this. Yeah, but like
with some of this propaganda stuff.
Right.
I really...
And I Am Legend is kind of a perfect example of, is that the road we're going down? And no, I don't think the vaccines are going to turn us into zombies. I hope not, because my wife has it. But, of course, last week. But it's just interesting, like, over and over and over again. But then again, if you look for it, you'll find it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, who's to say?
Yeah, you see what you want to see
You
sometimes.
see what you want to see.
That,
Yeah,
Rose-colored
absolutely.
glasses.
Yep. I will say we have a bomb shelter in our house, so if something does happen, you guys can come on.
Built in the late 40s or 50s, I'm
56,
guessing. There we go.
1956.
Yeah.
The
A
podcast
true
from her bomb shelter.
Yes.
But Matt, you have extra gas at your house because the time I ran out of gas.
Yeah.
So we all know you have gas to fill up everything. I get a
I'm pretty prepared, and I wouldn't say I've always been that way, but for a very long time, I mean, I could live for weeks and be okay. And
so between you and
defend,
Lisa, we'll just come hang
Yeah.
out.
and defend
Yeah.
myself and the place for a while too. So,
Note
and I'm
to
not a
self.
prepper. I don't mean that, but I think, we live in Minnesota. There's snowstorms. You get trapped for a few days occasionally. Literally have.
Right.
It's common sense.
It is.
To be prepared.
Yeah.
Take care of yourself
Yeah.
first.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
depend
And these
on
are the
other
things
people.
that they should be teaching in school. They should teach you how to run a checkbook and how to.
Yes.
I had this great conversation with this old guy today. So we were going to try to go live today, and we have everything prepared. But supposedly this one little adapter that's not working, right? So I'm standing there at Best Buy, and they're not open yet. They says they're open at 10. They don't actually open till 11, but
nice.
that's beside the rant. But this old guy, this great grandpa,
Thanks, COVID.
this great grandpa, yeah, COVID doesn't happen after 11 a.m., by the way.
Yeah.
Before 11, we're in trouble.
Or before 10. Yeah, 10 p.m. It's.
Well, 11 a.m.
Oh, yeah, 11,
So,
11, yeah.
So
Yeah.
They can't open
Yeah, sleep
until
that
11.
Central
So
Sleep that
before
COVID
11,
off.
we're in
Right.
trouble. After 11, we're fine.
Yeah.
But anyway, just talking to him, standing there for an hour almost, and it was a great conversation. I would have never had that opportunity had Best Buy been open and some of those kinds of things. But, you think about that, and he's crazy upset about this. And he's like, what happened? In just such a short time. Nobody's prepared for anything. Everybody follows along with everything. Nobody does any kind of
Conforms.
research. Nobody can write anymore. Nobody, and he wasn't complaining. He's just confused. Like,
More
what-
questions than
yeah.
answers.
Like, why are people not like me standing up and saying what in the heck is going on? But the CDC has zombie apocalypse preparation, so we're okay. Makes sense.
Exactly.
So
Fauci will come out with that pretty soon, right?
there's my
Guidelines for that or
He's been
suggestions.
quiet.
I noticed that too.
Yeah, he's been quiet.
Yeah. Where's Burke been too? Dr. Burke, remember? Scarf woman?
Oh, she got caught. Yeah, you didn't hear about that?
No.
Yeah,
Not
yeah,
wearing
yeah.
a mask?
Oh yeah, not wearing a mask, not social distancing.
Like all the other ones, like everybody else.
During Thanksgiving last year.
So another hypocrite.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and she resigned.
Didn't know that.
Yeah.
Now I know.
She was with a bunch of family literally like the next day after coming out and saying, don't go see family for Thanksgiving.
So that means the governor of California
Social-
should resign too, right? Because he's a hypocrite,
social
right?
distancing, wear a mask if you have to be around people, don't do it, blah blah blah. And there were all kinds of pictures that were floating around of her with her family, and they traveled and stuff like that. And she's like, I'm not going to put up with this. I'm going to resign. I'm not going to fight
I didn't
it.
know that.
She's like, I'm out.
She didn't wear her scarf as a mask.
Oh boy, I saw the pictures and it's like, yeah, they're all different ages. So again, what is going on?
I don't know. Maybe it could just be like advertising and marketing too. Maybe it was just sort of in poor taste, and they're like, "This will get them." Like maybe it was just simple as that, and they just thought, "Hey, this will get their attention." Maybe they didn't put a full amount of thought into it like we are right now, and that
Maybe
happens.
we're not either.
I don't know. Right?
Chances are good of that.
Oh, I'm always an overthinker, but maybe it got people's attention. I always look at it this way. I'm like, negative tension's attention, and we're talking about it right now. So there you go.
I do agree with that. Yeah, I don't know. We could probably
Doesn't mean it's right. And it doesn't mean it's
but
fair, but it happens. And
what I don't like is like people are literally literally scared that this is a real thing because our government is saying be prepared for a zombie apocalypse. It's coming. People are literally scared of it.
yeah. I think we
And
need to define that zombie apocalypse.
And I don't
what does
fault
that
them
entail?
for that. I don't fault them for that either, right?
They're believing the government.
Yes. And why wouldn't you?
Well,
Because
That's
they were
why we're
supposed to be
sitting.
credible.
is this
Right.
going to be a
Right.
4-hour special
As-
today?
As best we can.
So maybe now in schools they'll have zombie training, warning like
Well,
tornado,
again,
thunderstorm.
This bothers me. Are we worried? Are we fearful that people are going to try and eat our brains? I mean, what we know of zombies is, from movies, Night of the Living Dead. Brains. I need brains. I mean, like,
That
is
was
that
some good stuff.
I
That was
mean, I
fun.
love that.
Back
That was
in
some
the
good.
80s.
That was the old stuff. Like that
yeah.
was great. But now, are we comparing? Is that zombie-like
Is that
behavior?
the one in the mall? The big mall? Like the shopping mall?
Oh, I'm going
Which
back
one?
old school. I'm thinking
Yeah, the
black
one
and
in
white.
the 80s.
I'm going black and white Night of the Living Dead, and then
I don't
they
think I saw
colorized
that
it.
one.
I'm just thinking. I'm still imagining. But
The one in the 80s. There was a good one in the 80s.
Well.
Wasn't that like in a shopping mall?
you drink enough, you can be a zombie. I don't know. Like
I
honestly,
saw that last week.
I mean, I've seen people, again, I will just say this, that have been under the influence of some pretty hardcore drugs, and they are in such their own world. They're dancing in the middle of a parking lot thinking they're somewhere else. And so that looked very zombie-like to me. I've seen YouTube videos, and unfortunately, people were making fun of it. Unfortunately, people put Michael Jackson's Thriller behind it. So my point being is, like,
That's funny, actually.
so sorry.
That's funny.
I so tried hard not to laugh at that because it was funny. But again, I felt guilt. I felt
somebody
guilt
else's-
watching
Yeah,
it and
no,
laughing at
yeah.
it, even though I didn't
Yeah.
film it and I wasn't the person doing it. So that was very zombie-like. So I think we all are going to have our own perspective of that. And if we're going to go with this, or if CDC or, some pretty credible, whatever you want to call it, you need to start defining what zombie-like behavior is because people are going to freak out.
Yeah. No, that's a very good point.
I like to keep my brains, what's left of them. So just saying.
I missed that movie. I was watching Bambi.
So did I.
Oh, right?
Yeah.
The
Good
Exorcist,
cover.
Night of the Living Dead. We were
Yeah.
those psycho. We were those people.
Twitter pattern.
Right?
Twitter pattern.
Twitter pated.
Twitter pated, yeah. Twitter pated.
We didn't have zombie in
And
Disney.
by the way, I would like to say that
No.
this stuff is preventable. I mean, we sit here and we talk about it, this and that. I mean, I think that we have time. There are measures. There are things that we can do to prevent this, right? Like, why are we just setting this in stone? Like, this is going to happen. Maybe, like, let's help take care of our people, mental health, this and that. Maybe we can.
Well,
Because
Nostradamus said.
So it's set in stone, right?
But we prepared ourselves.
But we
so
have free will. I don't know. Things can change. Sorry.
No, it's okay. For last year, I feel like we prepared, or we didn't prepare ourselves, but we were taught that we were putting the puppet of this is happening and this is happening, and then the hornets are coming, and then the seeds are coming, and then this.
Right.
What? Okay. Oh
Biblical?
yeah. Okay.
COVID.
Yeah.
You know,
COVID did that to our
I
mind.
know the bees. I had
The hornets, the bees, yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
they were,
those-
but-
The murder,
yeah.
murder
Wasps,
hornets.
rain
But now,
and
now it's
frost.
the zombies.
murder hornets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
a big farce. Like, seriously?
But we
I talked
accepted
to a
it.
bee.
You know what I mean?
I didn't.
Well, I didn't,
Just
but I'm
so
just
you know.
saying.
I just a couple of days ago, I had like a 45-minute ride to an airport, and so I think it was like their sister and brother-in-law have kept bees for like 30 years. And the short version is they're like that murder hornet thing that was a big. Like,
It ain't gonna happen.
I'm not gonna
that's
lie.
not real.
I
That's-
thought of like.
I mean,
Hunger
they're
Games.
real, but they're
Right?
not, like,
I thought of Hunger Games with those things. I'm like, I don't
know.
want to be stung by one of those things. I don't know. Again, I went to
Yeah.
movies. I don't know.
But your point being,
Right.
go ahead.
No, it's just that you kind of nailed it. I mean, it's just the same thing. This is the next thing. So hopefully more people will
just-
be saying, "Oh my gosh," and versus
either
this is actually
preparing-
real, right?
They're either
Yeah.
preparing us or they're dumbing us down,
Exactly.
and it might be the latter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That, yeah.
Just like the second wave of COVID, everything like that too. So wear a second mask, wear a third mask, when does it stop?
And then why are
Bubbles.
they pushing this vaccine so well? Let me split this into two thoughts. Why are they pushing the vaccine so hard, and that every person, it'll be available to every person in May? So why are they pushing it so hard? I mean, Lyft and Uber are advertising like, "We'll give you a ride." They're oh yeah.
I actually
It's-
thought you were going to say, "We'll give you the shot." And
Well,
I'm like,
that'll be the next
I was
thing.
like,
Yeah.
Here's your Burger King Whopper. And
DoorDash.
And your vaccine.
Yeah, they said that. Send it out with every UPS and every Prime, Amazon Prime delivery person, and everybody would have the immunization quicker than anything.
Within a week.
And then on the second thought of that is, okay, why is the Biden administration getting praised for this? Because the Trump administration had it going, and they said June.
Media.
Right?
Media.
Do we really have that short of a memory?
Some people do.
Not us.
Before we get into multiple sclerosis, there I said it right this time. Awareness. Thank you very much. I hopefully don't break my arm when I pat myself on the back.
Short version.
MS.
Yeah.
Like it.
I don't know what feedback you guys have had, but I've had some feedback. Why is this a political show? And I started hear me out. I started to think about this, and literally we've had only a handful of political articles that we've talked about. This week we have one political article. That's it. But does it feel like?
Again,
I just
people
want to get thoughts on that.
It's what's hot right now. It's what
I
Right.
love,
it's
I love
pushed
people
in
being
our face
critical.
all the time.
people aren't talking about the pets that were on the plane or the dogs or the cute stories. Yes, it's lovely and it makes
But
you
even
feel
us,
good.
they think my point being is they think we're doing is talking about politics. But the reality is we're not. It's very small.
Mm-hmm. So again, people are hearing and
It-
seeing what they want to see or hear.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I think that, probably once a week, maybe we bring up an article. And I think it's all about what's relevant. I don't know if they're understanding that. Like, that's what is happening in our world right
Yeah.
now, in our community. So, of course, we're going to talk about it. And I would hope that they also see that the other articles that we bring into it, the feel-goodness of it, it's not all negative. I think that...
No, and I don't think politics needs to be negative
No,
either. I don't
exactly.
mean that.
Yeah.
just out of the comfort zone. If somebody doesn't feel comfortable with it, then it's, oh my gosh, they were talking about it.
That's
It's taboo.
true.
Yeah.
And that's
There
the
you
whole
go.
point of the show is
Exactly. Give
Don't
different
you,
opinions.
don't you think, though, too, that they tie politics to everything, even...
And I
Yes.
think
and
I
it,
do.
it can be.
Literally
Right.
every story, they can just tie politics to everything.
in some way you probably could for
Yeah.
sure.
Right.
And that's actually scarier because why is the government entity involved in so many things?
Right.
I would then ask. But
We're going to need a longer show for that one.
yeah. The and so the reality is that like you say, people hear what they want to hear, and the reality is we need to talk about politics because it's relevant, and it needs to be relevant to people's lives. And let me ask you this question: how many of you heard about the murder that happened in George Floyd Square?
I did.
Who else?
I'd heard about it.
Craig was
earlier.
gone, I guess.
You were
Yeah.
out of the country,
We were
weren't
out
you?
of the country, yeah.
You were sunning.
Yeah.
Well,
Did-
that-
I didn't. I did
didn't.
not.
How is that not a big thing right now with everything going on? That's my question. And that's exactly why I decided to do this. we need to focus on what's important and what's relevant. That's pretty relevant, if you ask me. That
And you know,
should be
the article
that
I
should be
seen-
national news.
The article
like,
I seen, I'm just gonna say it said black man killed where George Floyd was killed. You know, I mean, literally almost a copycat kind of situation. Did it get the notoriety, all that hype and hoopla? No. So
it's disingenuous. It's very, very disingenuous, in my opinion, when you look at this literal statistics.
Hey, a lot of people have asked how they can support the work we're doing here at Matt Logan Speaks. Well, you see this hammer that I got in my hand? It's pretty big. All you have to do is hammer the share button. Go ahead and hammer out a comment to us. Go ahead and hammer the like button. Go ahead and hammer the subscription button. Go ahead and hammer the notification bell so that when we have new content up, you're the first to know about it. We really appreciate the comments, shares, likes, because you know what? That's the best way you can support us, because the algorithms on all these fancy computers, that's what they need. We appreciate it.